This is Late Night Health. I'm Mark Allen. We're talking about conquering the Superwoman syndrome with all the stress and strain that our 21st century lifestyle gives, especially to women, I think. Jim LaValle, registered pharmacist and clinical pharmacist, board-certified clinical nutritionist, and author of Your Blood Never Lies. And with all the guests that we've had over the years, Jim is still the only one who's taken the time and energy to take my blood, and I thank him for that. We were talking just before the break, Jim. You were describing that you should take at least 5,000 units of vitamin D, and I'm assuming that's vitamin D3.
Yes, absolutely. Take vitamin D3.
And that if your vitamin D levels do not increase, to add A to it?
I mean, you may need to use a little more vitamin D. You could go to 10,000 units of vitamin D3 a day. But if you're taking vitamin D and you're not seeing it going up, you may need to add vitamin A. You can get little pearls of vitamin A that are 5,000 to 10,000 units, and take one of those. The net of it is that you need vitamin A in order to absorb vitamin D, and it is an epidemic. People aren't outside getting sun. If they are, they got sunscreen on. Most people are, indoors all day, and this is a big problem. I mean, whether it's for breast cancer health, gastrointestinal cancers, preeclampsia and early pregnancy issues in women, mood. There's a lot of things that relate to vitamin D and how your insulin receptors work. So we talked about that whole thing of your insulin receptors working and being under stress, and you need to use phase 2. Well, if you don't have vitamin D, the insulin receptors don't want to work.
And what about taking a look at the hormones in your body? Especially women who are either at menopause or have passed through it. Isn't that something else that women should look at to maintain their health? Without a doubt. I mean, they're expanding into this whole issue of based on age. So once you hit perimenopause, fluctuations in progesterone and estrogen can cause dramatic differences in the way you handle stress. For example, progesterone is needed to coat the nerves or the myelin sheath in the brain. I mean, and for men and women, but for women, it plays even a more dramatic effect. In fact, we've had women that are in perimenopause or menopause that have trouble with sleeping. Their mind's too alert, too racy, too stressed out, can't sleep, and just replace their progesterone, bioidentical progesterone, and it overcame their issue. So yes, hormones play a role. Stress response plays a role. Behavior plays a role. Women who communicate their issues with other women, so the kind of the yaya, what I call the yaya sister effect to my wife. Right.
I see that there is an incredible positive benefit in her life, and this has been, noted in studies that women do better in those types of situations where we're able to share with other women
rather than with you
issues and struggles.
Your wife.
Well, I mean, just it's a gender specific thing. They do really well in terms of calming your cortisol levels, and I think, let's face it. I think since the beginning of time, I've seen the funny, differences between men and women. Right, the gender specific differences. Of the men have 2 knobs on their computer, board, and women have 40 knobs. And
okay.
I think that there is some wisdom that women are, do get some benefit from having kind of their gender-specific communication. And at the same time, if you're building good relationships as men and women, you're working on those communication skills, and obviously we as men can contribute.
And what about we only have a moment or two left. What about men and their hormone levels? We should talk about that maybe next time we talk. Testosterone shots, pre-testosterone medications. Is that something that men should look at for themselves?
Oh, I think that without a doubt that men, stress can have a dramatic effect on men's hormones. What I would say is depending on the age of the man, what their other issues are, maybe you can take something like, HCG or popular now for people to use Clomid, being prescribed by docs that stimulate men to produce their own testosterone.
We are out of time. We're going to do that. We're going to do a testosterone show, okay? Next few weeks. Okay, good deal.
I'd love to do it.
All right. Jim LaValle, the author of Your Blood Never Lies, here on Late Night Health. I'm Mark Allen. Don't go away. Visit us at latenighthealth.com if you don't get hour 2, and you'll be able to see and hear the entire show. All right, I'm back in just a couple moments along with the insane Daryl Wayne. Don't go away.